My name is Emmanuel Joseph, EJ, and I'm here with EJ in D Rama, where I'm gonna be with you for this panorama season, explaining, describing, interviewing, and covering as much aspects of the panorama competition this year as possible. And so I invite you to join me. I appreciate your liking, your viewing, your sharing, and of course your support. I hope that I can get some criticism, some constructive criticism, some votes of encouragement, as well as some nitpicky details that you can help me to make this experience better. Again, my name is Emmanuel Joseph. This is EJ in D Rama, and I'm happy to have you here with me. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to EJ in D Rama, and a happy new year to you and yours. All the best for 2023. The National Panorama competition is in full effect as we started in November of 2022 with the National Single Pan Finals taking place. And now in January, we're going to see a lot more going on. And so we have for you this season on EJ in D Rama something that is going to blow your mind. We are going to be taking you to the Pannists, to all the Pan finals, competitions, semi-finals, everything that's going on with Panorama, as well as breaking down the entire process of how a band prepares for Panorama, from arrangers to tuners to players and instruments that are used for Panorama. So stay tuned for EJ in D Rama Panorama 2023. What is Panorama? Panorama is a competition for steel pan bands or steel pan groups where they compete against each other as they select a tune of choice and have that song arranged for competition. A panorama can be inclusive of different rounds of competition, including preliminary, semi-finals, and finals, or it can be one day of judging or performing for the competition. There are many panoramas around the world. There is the London Panorama, takes place in England as part of the Notting Hill Carnival. There is the New York Panorama. There is Miami Panorama as part of Miami Carnival. There are a number of panoramas taking place in the smaller Caribbean islands, which include St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua, and there's so many more joining the ray. And so in Trinidad and Tobago, we have the National Panorama competition, which includes the likes of large bands, medium bands, small bands, single pan bands, and there's even a junior panorama for secondary school, primary school students, and those under 21. So a panorama is a competition for steel pan bands or groups to compete against each other, and this is Panorama 2023 Trinidad and Tobago. What is the steel pan? The steel pan is a percussive instrument which uses a barrel of metal or steel, and it is formed into a pan or rounded form that you are able to play with the use of a mallet or a pan stick. The steel pan is the only musical instrument to have been created in the 20th century. The steel pan is the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago here in the West Indies in the Caribbean, and we boast of forming the steel pan out of the likes of tambu bamboo. It is a cultural means of resistance, of resonance of our history, as well as the representation of our cultural makeup that is Trinidad and Tobago. And so now, after many years of development, we are in the panorama season where steel pan bands and steel pan groups compete against each other, not just for bragging rights or for prize money, but for the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, where our culture can be preserved, where it can be celebrated as well as shared with not just Trinidad and Tobago, but with the world, the Caribbean, and of course the region. And so EJ in D Rama this year for Panorama 2023 seeks to highlight the many different aspects of the panorama, including players, arrangers, tuners, bands themselves, as well as you, the person, the viewer, who are going to be spectating, who's going to be in the stands, going to be on the TV, on your cellular devices, looking at the panorama, trying to understand what's going on. And EJ in D Rama this year is going to help you to understand, appreciate, and of course celebrate the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, which is steel pan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important resources for the steel pan fraternity and of course the panorama competition is its human resource. The players, these musicians that play the instrument of the steel pan, they put in long hours of hard work, dedication, sacrifice. They are at their various panyards practicing, learning the music, perfecting their craft, and being able to execute the music in a very sustainable way that allows for the best performance come the Panorama competition night. And so the players, these instrumentalists, these musicians that are able to learn music either by rote or through music theory, through music scores, they are able to understand and receive the music that they are learning from their arrangers and being able to perform and execute this music spectacularly year after year, because of the months, weeks and days of practice that they dedicate their time to. And so the human resource of the Steelpanists themselves is deeply important to the Panorama and of course the Steelpan fraternity, not just in Trinidad and Tobago but of course around the world. Just like any musical instrument or any craft or any skill, these players must dedicate a lot of their time to creating themselves to be wonderful, skilled, expert, technically gifted Steelpanists. They have to practice day after day, night after night, some of us even years after years. And so when they put in this hard work, not just for the Panorama season but for any performance, they are able to possess a feeling of passion and joy when they're on stage on Panorama. You can see and look at some of their faces. The feelings of joy, of sacrifice, of hard work is evident. And of course, these Pannists, they put in their time. They have day jobs, they have families to look after, they have passions to follow. And so the Steelpan being one of them, they have to sacrifice a lot of their time, energy and hard work in the Steelpan pan yards, in the communities, in their various places of practice. And when they're on stage, they're able to feel that feeling of joy and bliss as they perform for the Panorama competition. And so when you're looking at the Panorama spectacle, take a look at some of the players' faces and you can see that joy, you can see that long weeks, those long weeks of hard work on their faces as they perform and leave their hearts on the stage. Look at the young people in the Panorama space, because they are doing something so amazing to be a part of a constructive team. And so look at the young people, look at the junior Panorama, look at the primary schools, the secondary schools and the under 21 bands. Look at the way these young people are integrating into the older senior bands and being instrumental in the instrument of the Steelpan. And so keep on enjoying, keep on looking at the spectacle of Steelpan and Panorama. This is EJ.In D Rama Panorama 2023. What are the different types of Steelpans used for a Panorama competition? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Steelpan is not just one type of pan. There are many different versions or different types of Steelpans, which include bass, guitar, cello, double seconds, double tenor, and I think one of the most known types of Steelpans, the tenor pan. And so how do these instruments, these different types of Steelpans, combine and merge and amalgamate to create a sound that we hear on the Panorama stage and that is known globally as Steelpan? So we're going to get into each different type. And the bass pan brings that depth, just like a bass guitar brings that heavy, deep sound and plays that those rocking bass lines. That is what the bass pan does for an orchestra. The guitars are like your electric guitar or your acoustic guitar that strums a nice pattern to create body within the music. And of course the cello would be like a brass line or like the horns in a brass band, where they add different texture and the different songs to complement the melody. The double seconds sometimes are used as a strumming instrument as well to complement the guitar, and sometimes they even play the melody of the song. The double tenor brings that harmony, brings the different layer of texture and different music, brings that harmony to the melody of the song. And the tenors carries the top range, is the highest range of Steelpan, and it brings the melody across as best as possible, as close to the original song as possible. And all these pans come together and combined with a rhythm section, with an engine room consisting of a trap set or drums, as well as the conga drum, as well as a bongo drum, and even a timbales, as well as a slam bass. Drum section also includes a tuk-tuk, a tambourine, a scratcher, as many different other instruments that are used. So the rhythm section, the bass pans, the cello pans, the guitar pans, the double seconds, double tenor and tenor all combine and amalgamate to create a wonderful orchestra of music that is produced by the Steelpan instrument. And so when you're listening to a band, when you're at the Panorama, when you're listening to it on your phone or laptop or iPad or whatever means of celebration that you are using to celebrate the Steelpan, listen out for the bass. Look at the bass players if you are able to. Look at the guitar players. Look at all the different sections and try to pinpoint what you are hearing. And we're going to have some help to do that by today. We're going to have our friends at BP Renegades. They're going to show us how a band comes together to create the sound for a piece of music. So, enjoy. I encourage you to participate, enter and enjoy the panorama culture, the Steelpan fraternity and the spectacle of celebration of our culture as we enter into the Panorama 2023 season. We already had the single pan. This month we have the small conventional band, semi-finals and finals, as well as the junior panorama, and in February we anticipate and we look forward to the medium and large band category. So enter into the steel pan world. If you have a steel band in your community, give them that support. If there's a steel band around the place that you work or go to school, give them that support. As we wrap up this episode of EJ in D Rama, after all we've learned, I encourage you, the viewer, to come out, step into the panorama world and enjoy the celebration of our culture that is Panorama 2023. This is EJ in D Rama.